Yeah. That's a good attitude to have.
Are we wearing the same shirt?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, I'm gonna go change. I'll be right back. So hey guys, welcome to a COVID-19 episode of Student Shorts. In these series, we're going to be talking with a couple students and young alums and letting them share their perspective on their time at Hampden-Sydney and I guess what they gained from their time at the school. So Hunter, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what you studied at Hampden-Sydney, and why you chose to go to the school.
Yeah, so hey guys, I'm Hunter Williams. I'm a senior in the class of 2020. I'm a Birmingham, Alabama native, and when I graduate, I'll be moving to New York to work for an investment bank on Wall Street. I guess when I was in your shoes, I was looking at a handful of schools. There really wasn't any consistency between them. It wasn't like it was a bunch of small liberal arts or, a bunch of elite schools or state schools. I was kind of, really at the end of the day, it was between Hampden-Sydney and the University of Alabama. Kind of tried to think about where it was going to set me up for what I wanted to do. And I knew in high school I wanted to go into finance and specifically work on Wall Street. And so, Hampden-Sydney wasn't a school I'd really considered. I'd gotten a piece of mail from the college at one point and did a quick Google search and saw it was, an all-male school in the middle of nowhere, Virginia, and thought absolutely not. And then I mentioned it to my college advisor, and, she kind of gives you that look and goes, that might not be a bad idea. So I started thinking about it more and more. And like I said, it came down to Alabama and Hampden-Sydney, and really what kind of did it for me. The recruiter was in Birmingham, and I had met him before on a campus visit. And, we were playing golf because he's like, hey, what's something fun we can do? Let's catch up. So we're playing golf, and he says to me at one point, what do I got to do to kind of seal the deal to get you to come to Hampden-Sydney? And I told him, if you really want to have it, you got to put me in touch with a banker who, had gone to an Ivy League MBA, is working on Wall Street, just killing it. And 2 hours later, I was at a baseball game, and I get a phone call from a 212 area code, which is the New York area code. Guy answers the phone. He goes, hey, is this Hunter? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, hey, I heard you want to go be a hotshot Wall Street banker. And, I'm your guy. And we got into a little conversation, and he ended up, after that, becoming one of my best mentors I've ever had. But, to have that attention from the admissions office and make me really feel like a person was something no other school did for me. And that really spoke to me about what Hampden-Sydney is just as an institution. It's a place where, everybody is concerned for your well-being and they want to see you succeed. And it starts with an alum who's never met me in his life. He has that sort of love for the college that really spoke to me. So that was probably the big moment where I was sold.
Right. That's awesome. So what did you wind up studying in your time? Major, minors?
Yeah, so I was a math econ major. I used to be a math econ and a physics major, along with a math and German minor. So it's kind of a weird group of curriculum, I suppose. But I ended up having to give up the minors and the major. I was at the London School of Economics all of last year as a part of their general course program, which it's a pretty prestigious study abroad program. In my year alone, Hampden-Sydney had 2 guys go. So I spent most of my time in Morton on the econ department with Professors Townsend, Dr. Carilli, Dr. Lee. Really was just kind of fascinated by the idea of studying decision making and understanding how it is that I guess decisions are made and people go about their day to day. And Hampden-Sydney does a great job of making you be empathetic. And those types of thought processes that the college teaches and the type of curriculum is not just applicable to numbers and money like most people think economics is. The way that the college teaches it is applicable to everything. It's a study of decision making, so there's a psychology element to it. There's a practical management side to it, but there's also the financial side to it. So it gave me a leg into so many different fields and so many different types of career possibilities. And of course, I had known that I wanted to go into banking. So, there's so many things in that program that you wouldn't immediately associate with banking. And it's all soft skills, and it's all just sort of intangible things that don't show up on paper, but can really make a difference between you and somebody who maybe has a little more focused concentration, like a finance degree. And the type of attention that you get inside of your major from Hampden-Sydney professors, when you only have 5 or 6 people in your classes, you really form a relationship with that professor, was massive in my success. So it's definitely something I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Is there a class that you took that wasn't within your major that you felt kind of influenced your success, going forward?
And make me talk about the Rhetoric program.
No, you don't have to.
It's a real thing. That is a very, very real thing. Hampden-Sydney students are required to take Rhetoric when you get there. So basic reading, writing, and communication skills. And that's such an underappreciated skill set to have. And it's, again, not something that shows up on paper, but makes a massive difference. When I interned at the bank that I'm going to work for, when I graduate, when I was there this summer, one of the big things that I had to do as an intern was work on pitch books. So you're pitching potential clients to sell their companies. So these are hundreds of millions, multi-billion dollar transactions that you're bidding for. And everybody can model and everybody can come up with, we can have this % accretion and we can make so much money for your company. But if you can't tell that story and tell it in a way that makes sense to the guy sitting across from you, you've already lost the deal. And that's entirely the point of Rhetoric. It's effective communicating in a clear and concise manner. So, that was paramount to my ability of attacking tasks and getting a return offer.
Last thing I'll ask you, what advice would you give somebody who maybe was in your shoes 4 years ago trying to figure out, do I go to this big state school or Hampden-Sydney? Because I find a lot of the times we have guys who are kind of split between bigger schools, SEC schools, and us, little old us in Farmville, Virginia. What advice would you give them trying to make that decision right now? I
think you have to really think about your decision of where you go to school isn't just a decision for 4 years. It is very much so a lifetime decision. And in some cases, it's more of a lifetime decision than it is at other schools. So Hampden-Sydney is very much so a lifelong decision because the group of guys that you have is going to be so tight-knit, and you're going to have the connections with guys who have graduated before you that you may not get at a large state school. So that's one thing that I would keep in mind. The other thing that I would think about is have an idea of what it is you want to do. And if you don't, maybe liberal arts is a great way for you to go, because you get a skill set that's going to be very adaptive to a variety of career paths. And because Hampden-Sydney forces you to take classes outside of just the major you declare, you have to really push your boundaries and experience new things. I had no intention of being a physics major when I got to the college, and I took a class and just loved it and ended up pursuing it. Unfortunately, I had to give it up because I was gone, but that would have never happened had I gone to a large state school. I kind of would have gotten focused on just the finance or economics, kind of gone down that route. So, I think the flexibility that you get out of Hampden-Sydney is massive. And the other thing to consider too is, and I mentioned this before, if you start thinking about what you want to do, think about how it is you're going to get into that industry. And because the network at Hampden-Sydney is so strong, you're going to have, almost immediate access to any career path you would want. It's very unusual for a school the size of Hampden-Sydney to have the diverse array of careers represented by alumni. So, I would keep those things in mind as you're going through this process. It's hard to describe exactly how grateful I am for the opportunities that I've been afforded and the experiences that I've gotten to have over the past 4 years. And it's such a unique experience that I don't think you're going to be able to recreate at any other institution. So for that, I would have a hard time trying to convince you to not go to Hampden-Sydney.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, Hunter, thank you very much. Appreciate you being on, and go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers.